welcome to GAMA 2017 with the Dice Tower. We are here with Sean from Mr. B Games. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. I see you've got some nice goodies for us, so.
Yeah, I like to always come full circle. So last year when we were here at GAMA and the Dice Tower, I showed 2 prototypes.
Okay.
One for Madness at Midnight, which is this guy here.
This one here, yeah.
And one for Alien Uprising Zothren Invasion card game.
Okay.
And so both are coming out here in about 2 weeks into retail. So I just wanted to give it like a little update on those. So
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Do you want to show us anything from these games?
Yeah, absolutely. So Madness at Midnight is a every person for themselves. It's kind of like a what you know about a Cthulhu game, but in reverse.
Okay.
So you play the Cultists, and the board itself plays the Investigators.
Let's see if we can flip over a little bit.
Yeah,
here
there you go.
See a little bit of stuff here.
Yep. So they're running around Arkham. You're trying to summon your Great One, and you're trying to do all the evil deeds. And of course, the pesky investigators keep getting in the way and trying to solve crime. Darn them.
Darn them, exactly.
So everybody has a playmat and some different levels of your basic followers. And as you go along, you can upgrade your different characters and your monsters. And it's dice driven. So at the beginning of the turn, you're rolling all your dice, and that's all of your actions and movements and things along that nature for the game.
Okay.
Very fun, light little, look about a 90-minute 2 to 4 player game.
Perfect. Exciting stuff. That's really great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we've got Alien Uprising.
Yes.
Oops, backwards.
That's okay. Everyone does it.
Zothren Invasion. So this is a standalone card game set in our Alien Uprising universe.
Okay.
And it's just like a quick, fast, light, Munchkin-esque, I guess, kind of game. It's got a unique mechanic in it that it doesn't have a picture on the back, where you're basically drafting a la like a Seven Wonders, and you're building a robot with the various cards. So you're getting like a Franken robot, like different odd arms and legs, and you gear them up, and then they have rocket launchers and missiles, and you shoot at everybody, and you try to take out as many aliens as possible, as quickly as possible.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so a little smash and grab, kind of a lighter fare.
And how many does this play?
That'll play 2 to 4, I believe it is.
2 to 4
2 to 4.
Okay, perfect. And these are coming?
In about 2 weeks, they'll be released into retail. Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep.
All right.
So then these are what's the up and coming.
Don't worry, everybody does it. Just ignore me and keep going.
So Metris is a game that I picked up at Essen about a year ago. Been working with the guys from Electra, and they're from Spain. And so they had designed a game that used a really interesting mechanic in the center of a town, where it reminds me of like the old Rio Grande game Goa. I don't know if you're familiar, but so it had a really cool mechanic where you bid for these different tiles, and then they gave you powers, and you had like almost a tech tree. And Metris has that. It's basically you're a kingdom, and you're trying to gain influence and intrigue along the way through the kingdom, and you have these 4 branches on your player mat, and it's just really clever bidding type mechanic.
Is there anything we can see from this one?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we can see what we're talking about. Here's a quick little peek.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a board for it as well, which is nice.
Okay,
board.
So here we'll do this. Give you some room. Okay. And we'll do it that way.
There you go.
Perfect.
So this would be the area where you're going to lay out all the different cards that everybody's going to bid on.
Okay.
This will be the area for your bank, and then the game's only played over 5 turns. So you always flip over a card at the beginning of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And depending on what that card is, that'll be like an expedition, and it'll tell you a level. Maybe it's a level 5 or level 6, and then you have to have on your specific tech tree. So like looking at this here, you would have to have that number on your expedition.
Okay.
And you get numbers by these tiles.
Here, I'll give that to you, and you can kind of show us those bits.
Gotcha. So these guys here make for a fun little. There's different variations depending on how you bid them, but essentially, if I place a tile like here, then I always start out at a base of 3, but by putting him in here, now I move him up to level 4.
Okay.
So I could go on all level 4 or lower expeditions.
Okay.
But then, of course, there are better characters as you move along through the game. So maybe you get this guy instead, and you put him over here, and she's worth 2.
Right.
But if you also notice, she's actually better at intrigue, the family crest. So if you put her over here, she's worth 3.
Right.
Right, and if you put her over here on the intrigue track, she's worth 2.
Oh, okay. I like the fact that they have the colors are coordinating. It makes things a lot easier to play.
Yep, and then you're always limited by the number of turns is the number of players you can have in a branch. So in turn 1, you can never have more than 1 worker per branch.
Okay.
And then in turn 2, you can have up to 2. Turn 3, you can have 3.
Okay, so that makes sense.
And then you can always store people from turn to turn. You can keep up to 2 from turn to turn as you're drafting them
okay, nice.
and moving them in. These actually are the characters designed when somebody assassinates you.
Right.
So if somebody came over and took this lady out, I would get to pull one of these out and replace it with my ignorant cousin for free. He can kind of do the job, right? Because it's still a hierarchy. He sort of can do the job okay, but
Right.
not nearly as
Not
good as
quite.
the last person.
Exactly.
And so that's essentially
Okay,
the
the
concept of the
gameplay.
game and where you're going with it. 2 different draw piles. It does the cards
So these are the
increase
cards,
over time.
right? You were talking about a bit.
Yep. So essentially, when these come out, you deal out 2 times the number of player plus 1 extra.
Right.
And then these come out, and then we have a round of bidding. So we would have a whole different move there, and then you're going to take your pawns and you're going to bid on actions, and I might come out and bid 2. And then it's a 1-up. It's either you up the bid or you pass, and if you pass, you don't get to come back.
Okay.
And then the winner gets to keep the card. And then on their playmat, you'll notice there were 2 squares on the playmat. And so as you draft these are your actions. So
okay, and
that's
they
my
go on,
first
right.
action. There's my second action. And the last player always gets a third action.
Okay, well, to make it
And
fair.
the turns always rotate, so whoever's in last place always gets that catch-up mechanic.
Oh, fantastic.
Yep.
Sounds fun.
And that is Metris.
Very cool. And when's this one coming out?
We're looking to put this thing onto Kickstarter probably April.
Okay, so it's soon.
Very soon,
Very,
yep.
very soon.
Yeah,
All right,
we're
that's
waiting on a couple of
beautiful.
previews,
Okay.
and just starting to get the word out now. And
Right.
as soon as we have all the videos and everything we need, then we're ready to go on it.
Which is nice, so people already know. So April, look out for that.
Yeah, that's Metris.
That's really nice. I really like the art on that.
Oh, me too. I love these guys. They find such good stuff. And then the next one I have upcoming, and this will follow probably pretty closely, roughly May,
Okay.
maybe leading
On
into
Kickstarter you're talking about? Okay.
exactly, maybe leading into Origins. And this is Aviation Tycoon. This is by Ted Cheatham.
Okay.
And I saw this game many, many years ago in a totally different iteration. And at one point, it actually was going to be released by Z-Man. And then there was some changes at Z-Man, and it
Exactly.
went back to Ted. And Ted showed this to me about a year ago, and I said, "Oh, I remember this thing." So this is a take on the old pickup and delivery type
Okay.
of game. I always say it's kind of like a train game, but it's an airplane game, right?
It's still fun. Yeah.
So, did I go the right orientation this time? No, back.
There we go.
So the idea of this is like a pickup and delivery, like an Age of Steam, So a yellow passenger wants to go to Dallas, a red passenger that's over here wants to go to LA.
Right.
Right. And then also a ticket to ride type element of, as you pick up these planes, these routes, you can actually put little plastic planes I've got on here on the routes, and they'll score extra income for the airline.
Okay.
What's different about this one is there are 4 colored airlines. There's red, yellow, green, and blue. Nobody owns an airline in the game. You're all investors in all of the airlines. And so you'll actually buy stock,
Right.
little stock cards. So instead of like in Ticket to Ride, I'm collecting sets. In this one, I'm collecting stock themselves. And I'm rewarded if somebody takes a passenger, say to Seattle, and they go over the green airline and over the red airline, and I
Right.
own stock in both. I get paid by both airlines
Oh,
as
fantastic.
the passengers
so you're
delivered
just as
home.
invested as everybody else and
Right.
making sure those stocks stay
Right,
high.
exactly. And so this is a very light game. And then you see all the different score tracks are because when you play with different players, you get more scoring rounds or less scoring rounds. So that's always equal number of turns.
Which makes sense, exactly. And this is for up to 5 players?
Up to 5, yeah.
Up to 5. And how long is the gameplay naturally?
Just a little under an hour.
Okay, so it's definitely an accessible end game that people can pick up and learn fairly
Absolutely.
easily.
Very easy learning curve. You also get to usually get a starting card, which is like a variable power.
Right.
And so it might say something like this turn, deliver 2 passengers. Normally you only get 1. And then every turn you pass those powers to the other people, so everybody will get to play everybody else's power, which is kind of neat.
So is that the one power they have for the game, or there are
no, just for
others
that turn.
For
And
that
then-
turn,
yeah.
and then you guys rotate the same power?
Until everybody's played it once,
Right.
and then you draw new ones
then
for
you
the
draw new
next
ones.
scoring
Okay.
round. Yep.
Fantastic.
And there's only 2 times when you actually score and pay everybody out. So money goes into the airline's banks, and they just grow, and
Right.
then it all depends on who drafted the best cards.
Oh, fantastic.
And there's a hidden element, so you're keeping some information back from everybody,
Right.
and then there's a reveal. So ownership, like all of a sudden you think, you were really owning all the red shares, but
Right.
in the end I popped an extra one down, and it moved us into a tie and things like
Well,
that.
that's
So-
tricky, right? Because you want people to kind of think you're going one way and then head
Absolutely.
out somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's fantastic. Very good. And I like the player count. It's really hard these days to find 5 per game. So
Exactly.
It's really good.
And I really like that it plays just as well with 2 as it does with 3, 4, and 5. Usually for me, sweet spots are 3, 4, and 5.
Right.
And 2s are, and same as solo play. Now this one doesn't quite work solo, but the 2-player works really well. You actually just wind up delivering 2 passengers each.
Okay.
And working 2 powers at the same time. That's
Right.
the only difference from the 3, 4, and 5-player game.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for showing that
No
to us.
problem.
And this is also, you said, Kickstarter
Yep.
in May?
Probably May. Yep.
May. Okay, so we can look forward to that. All right. Well, is
Awesome.
there anything else you wanted to add for us?
That's all I've got
That's
going.
it. Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me.
And we'll see you guys soon.